So you brought up Barkley. So let's move on to that quickly here, because Barkley is screaming about Durant. Let me play you the audio here. And Barkley chips out for a second, so you'll hear that. But this was kind of Charles' take on KD.
Before KD gets that great respect from all the old heads, he's going to have to win a championship as a bus driver. Listen, he joined this. That team had already won a championship, so no disrespect. That's just a fact. But until he is the guy on a championship team, we're not going to ever give him the respect, that he probably deserves.
Now, there's a old saying that people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And I feel like Chuck's house is made firmly of glass on this point. You know what I mean? You've been an amazing player. And to your point, won an MVP, got smacked in the face by Michael Jordan. At what point did Chuck ever take a team and go, I'm going to win us a championship as the guy? It obviously never happened. So for him to kind of criticize Kevin Durant for the same thing that he has literally had to shoulder for all of his career, it just seems very counterintuitive.
It's like he's trying to give himself a pass on the slide.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Aside from me,
I'm being disrespected too around here, so I'm trying to, fight for KD or put it out there. So if KD get the respect, I'm going to raise my hand and be like, oh, wait, you forget KD still went in there and made that team better, because that team lost, though. Even though it had the best record in the league, they lost in the finals.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So KD came in. Okay, no worries. And let's be real. You tried to do it too, Charles. You did it too. You tried to join Dream. You tried to join Clyde. You tried to join all these Kevin Willis, all these guys to get your ring, and this shit didn't work out for you. So, hey, but I just think Chuck I think sometimes he just talks and he's not really listening to himself and not realize you're talking about yourself, son.
Yeah.
At least KD has MVP from the finals. He has 2 rings and you have 0.
Yeah, I think he is. And that's the thing about the older generation at times.
Watch your mouth now.
Well, you said you said you
I'm
said
give
you
you KD's response in a second.
You said you were on the cusp, so you said you weren't fully immersed into the old generation, even though I don't believe that.
Just call the man old.
It's just what it is.
7 a.m, you're old. Oh, thanks.
Well, most old people fully dressed at 5 a.m. on the porch. You know how that is in the South, Rob. Be fully dressed on the porch at 5 a.m. Then half the day done gone by.
Drinking coffee, haven't already read the paper.
Right. Yeah. But I think a lot of these guys kind of forget, and they put themselves on this pedestal and on this mantle, like, hey, I played in a certain era where this, and this happened. And these things are not happening in this era. So I have a little bit more leeway in a sense to speak about things where it's kind of like, okay, to an extent that may be true, but when I look at your resume and I look at this other guy's resume, it's either the same or this other guy's resume may clip yours. Not to be disrespectful, we understand that you're older than him, but we're talking about the game of basketball here. And as much as we love Charles when he played, and we love Charles even more now that he's been on TV for almost 20 years, certain things you got to leave alone, dog. Like KD, he did win one, and he did get to one in 2011, 2012 when they were young. So they did get to one and got beat by Bron. But you got to let some things alone, because even though he did what he did, you did what you did and you didn't win. He did what he did and did win. So at the end of the day, he got 2. It's 2-0.
Yeah.
So
to
true.
Everyone's point.
We all have our own paths, right?
Durant's response, by the way, on Twitter, of course. All this shit is nasty. Another terrible analogy from a hating old head that can't accept that we're making more bread than them. It's just timing, Chucky. Don't hate the player. Good response. It's a good response. Is there, maybe this is an unfair question to ask you. Is there any kind of jealousy when you look at the amount of dollars that today's NBA players are demanding versus the days that you guys played? And now I know the economies are different. The time is, I get all that. But do you look at today's NBA and go, damn?
I do that every time, but I don't get jealous. Like, damn.
What could I have made?
I go home and look at mama like, we should have been born 10 years later, 20 years later, But it's, for me, I'm happy for these guys. I'm happy for them all to get their cheddar, for them to do what they need to do, because it's, I look at it like this. It's better for the next generation. each generation, you think about it, we went bananas when Big Dog got that contract when he was in Milwaukee. Everybody like, what the hell? He's making more money than what the team is worth. But he laid the path for these guys right here to get paid. You know, think about it. You know, we were just talking about for the show how we were back in '92 in the draft. We were all waiting on Shaq to sign so we can, you know, tear in after that. But, you know, Adam Keefe, scared and shit, went out and signed before everybody and messed my money up. And so, you know, that's the only time I'm hating right there was he messed my money up. But other than that, man, I think for me, I'm happy for these guys because, you know, especially an athlete who has kids, who the kids inspired to be in the NBA one day. I'm like, well, go ahead then. That's going to make it better for my child if he just happens to get to his dream and get to the NBA. So I'm like, go ahead, make all the money you can make. So it's going to be better for the next generation.